What do you think about olive?
Ooh.
Do you like olive?
No, I don't like olive. But wait,
Go!
wait.
Woo! All right, what's up, everybody? It's Ivan with Trouts Fly Fishing, back with 5 flies for September, welcoming our Lord Craven.
Lord
Charlie.
Craven.
Well,
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
But, you can do away with the Lord, but
Okay.
yeah,
all right.
that'll be all right.
Senor
I'm
Craven.
not that much older.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, shout out to Jake Burleson, who gives out the Lord
Title.
nickname.
Yeah, I think it's a title.
Title. Yeah. I heard it's the old guy.
I
uses
believe
old
it's
guy for that.
what young guys call old guys.
Yeah, we're never going to answer your question, Jake. We need a fish. Not going to answer it. About
No one knows if they're big or not.
Yeah, no one cares.
Yeah,
Mostly
no one
you.
cares, Jake. Ask the question more. Why don't you? Yeah. As always, Tanner's joined us as well. So we're going to talk September fishing. Charlie, what's your favorite thing about September fishing?
Man, same as every other month of the year, just fishing.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm not picky about a time of year. Anytime I can get out, I do like that it's cooler in the fall.
Yeah.
For sure. And kind of get into a little bit more technical dry fly fishing in a lot of cases. So that's a big thing for me. But yeah, I'm not terribly picky about it.
Fishing's fishing.
Fishing's fishing. Yep.
That's a great answer.
I don't know if I can top that.
Yeah.
Of course, it cools down. Betas are coming back. Streamers, which are always good, continue to be good. So,
Hopper droppers.
Hopper droppers are always in play. That should have been in play since June. But
Trailing tricos.
No.
Charlie, how do you feel? What do you like? Do you like tricos?
I do like tricos. Yeah, I like techie dry fly fishing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I like techie dry fly fishing with blueing olives. But
Yeah, I do.
tricos, it's just because I can't see. So I do a lot of rise over here, my flies over here. Put the whole pod down, and you're like, damn it.
Yeah. I was nowhere near my fly.
I think that was me. It's like,
Or you're watching your fly and it just flies away.
Yeah. God damn, that wasn't even mine at all.
Right. You're like, and it's like, you're like, oh, damn.
I was getting a great drift right up till then.
Right.
It looks so real.
Damn, that thing is moving, huh? Wow. Cool. So that's we're excited about September fishing. Obviously, getting cooler. The days are getting a little shorter, so you don't have to be out until like 11 p.m. You're not getting home at 11 p.m.
Yeah.
For old guys like us, I'm what's an advanced, like what do you before you're a lord?
I don't. We'll have to ask Jake. I mean, only he knows.
Yeah, fair enough.
He's
So
the rule maker.
I'm a
We have a
pre-lord.
question for Jacob.
Yeah. I'm a pre-lord. As a pre-lord, I don't want to be out. I don't want to be getting home at midnight.
I'm with that.
So
I feel
it's
you.
nice to have a little bit of a shorter day. And fall is always a beautiful time here in the Rockies. So we're going to talk about 5 flies, answer some questions. As always, if you have questions about October fishing, drop them in the comments below. We're going to have Courtney Despos back. And if your question is picked, you'll get an Umpqua prize pack and some Rising Big Nippers. So drop those comments down below. We'll probably talk about streamers. We'll probably talk about bluing olives,
Yep.
October stuff. So yeah, drop those questions down below. Let's get to the flies. All right, so fly number 1 is size 16 purple problem child. Tanner, do you have any thoughts on that? No. Charlie, what was the inspiration behind this fly?
So that fly actually has been in the works for a long time, but trying to make a small soft tackle. There's so much good soft tackle stuff out there, but the feathers are always big. So that fly is actually more of a technique fly. So it was sort of using bigger feathers to make a smaller soft tackle. So I was able to use a really cool feather, a big CDL hen feather, to make a much smaller soft tackle. The hook kind of came about it was on my desk from tying Fat Angie's. So that's where the hook came about. I like that curved hook. But just sort of a, double bead. I'm kind of all about that wherever it can fit.
Yeah.
Double bead. Flashy, attractory kind of thing. I came up with it from fishing up in Wyoming, where I discovered, from fishing down here, like you either have big stuff or you have little tiny stuff.
Yeah.
And Wyoming's a lot of medium-sized stuff. So that was kind of to fill that void, the medium-sized, 10, 12, 14 size stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Around here, 16s, 18s are probably better, but to kind of fill that medium-sized slot, especially for a dry dropper rig or double dropper.
Yeah. What do you like about purple?
I fished a lot of purple this year, and it works. I don't know what it is. My oldest son has a theory that like on bright days it looks purple and on dark days it looks black, and that sort of makes sense. I don't know what the fish thinks, but purple dries and purple nymphs, they turn heads for sure. And then there's some days where they don't work at all. So I don't know what that's about either.
Right, right.
That
It always makes you feel smart when you throw a purple fly.
well, exactly, yeah.
It
If you
doesn't
catch
work
fish
like
on the
that.
first cast, you're like awesome. You're like maybe today's not the day. Yeah.
Like, imagine that they're not eating purple today.
When could
Of
that
course
happen?
they're not eating purple. Yeah. What a
I didn't
terrible
think
color.
they would. I just wanted to check.
right,
Yeah.
I just wanted to show off a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
bit.
Just
You know?
put that green one back on.
Right.
Right.
What do you like about the problem trout, Tanner?
I think Craven wrapped it up pretty well. It's a nice tweener. You know, a lot of people fish nymphs. They're like Pat's River Lake to a size 20.
Yeah.
And like everybody forgets those in between sizes, 12 to 16. It's kind of one of the strangest things I think about Colorado crowds of fishing. You know, everyone is so excited about the huge Pat's River Lake during runoff when stoneflies are coming off. Then they go right back to like dry dropper fishing has to be like dry with size 20. Those 12 to 16s are pretty money, you know. I think they get you better drifts. They look like more bugs, and they work.
And this is like an impressionistic pattern, right? So it's
Just generic.
look like,
It could be
anything.
looks like
could be a
everything,
stonefly, could be a caddis, you know, it could be a drake nymph. That green
Right.
one's a pretty good drake nymph.
Yeah.
You know, just a chunky bug.
Versatile.
Yeah.
Versatile.
always
Exactly.
a
Me
good
flies
one.
that look like multiple types of bugs.
Right.
Well,
at
and
different
that's a
stages,
good point. Like
So,
the in between sizes, especially out here, where not a lot of guys are fishing that smaller stuff. That in between size stuff, the fish don't see as much of, so you know, maybe gets a little safer.
right.
There it is. That's fly number one. You know what I forgot to do is if you guys out there in the YouTube world didn't know who Charlie is, Charlie, who are you?
I'm just a guy.
Yeah,
works
just a
works
guy.
in a fishing store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Charlie
What fishing
Craven
store is that?
He is a legend.
It is Charlie's Fly Box.
Yeah.
just
Wow,
right up
that's
the road.
crazy.
Yeah.
Huh? The different Charlie owns that.
Yeah, it's a different one. Yeah.
And you've written books and stuff, or
I've
like
read, a couple books. Read a couple. Yeah.
what's the most recent book in
Most recent book is the streamer book, Tying Streamers.
Tying Streamers? Yeah. So Charlie has quite a few books and quite a few signature patterns with Umpqua. I think it's like 40 something.
So yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So,
So
somewhere around there.
Charlie, if you weren't familiar, you should be familiar.
Right.
Get the stickers. You know, I know fucking Charlie Craven.
I was going to bring you some. Yeah.
Yeah.
I probably have some in the truck.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Cool. So that's Charlie. I apologize for not introducing him properly first. I was just so pumped. I just assumed everyone knew. You know?
I think
And I assume
that's
everyone
a pretty
probably
safe
does
assumption.
know.
Yeah,
but
I think we're
like,
good.
just in case, you know, I don't want to leave anybody behind. So there we go. That's fly number one. Let's get to fly number two. Fly number two is the Baby Swim Coach. This is in brown and yellow. Charlie,
Yeah.
Swim Coach recently came out. Was that a couple years
Yeah,
ago?
a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, a few years ago.
Yeah. I like this fly. I know Tanner likes this fly. What went into the design? How did you approach this?
So that fly was in my box for a long time. You know, and you know, not all patterns do I sit down and like I'm going to come up with a fly today. You know, there's a lot of it's just just screwing around, and you know, a lot of it happens during the winter. And that fly had been, you know, the first version of that had been in my box for a long time. And we were up in Wyoming fishing with my friend Blake Clark, and you know, so I have a couple giant streamer boxes. Just I have over selection. And I turned around to Blake and I said, Blake, pick a fly out of here. And he pulled that one out. Now, honestly, I forgot about it. You know, it was a design from pretty far back. And he's kind of a steelhead guy, so he, like a swing fly is what he was thinking. And that's when I first started kind of fishing it. I actually had not even fished that fly. There's a couple, three of them in there. Without the center segment, it was articulated, but had a kind of a big gap in the middle. And we caught a lot of fish that day. And the next day, Blake dumped me out of his boat, which is why it's named the Swim Coach after Blake. Blake and my wife are standing in the boat while I'm floating down the North Fork of the Shoshone, yelling "swim." Which, if you've ever fallen out of a boat, you do not turn into a Navy SEAL when you fall out of the boat. There's no swimming. There's no all that bullshit about turn around and put your feet downstream. You have no control.
Flailing.
You're just drifting along. You're just
Survival
like,
kicks in.
Yeah,
you know
well,
what I
no,
mean?
you're just like, I guess I'll just come out on dry ground somewhere or I'll drown. So that
Swim, Coach, swim.
Swim, yeah. So they were yelling swim. So that's where the name came from. But that fly, has a lot of flash in it. It's a pretty slender fly, and the idea was to make a like a steelhead intruder, a fly that had a big outside profile, had a big profile, but didn't cast like a big fly. Yeah. One of the other flies we'll talk about, the double Ganga, is a big fly that is big. Yeah. The baby swim coach is even smaller, but even the regular size swim coach has got a big outside profile, but there's not a ton of material. So it's a fly that you can cast accurately. You can cast all day from the boat, and because it's thin, it sinks fast. Without weighing 50 pounds. Yeah. So that all the design to make the fly do what you want it to do. And then you can kind of build whatever you want around it.
And these materials don't hold water right? So they shed that water quick. Yeah, it's easy to cast.
Possum and mallard flake. So there's really not much to it.
Yeah. Shit works. Tanner, I know you like this fly. Why? Tell me why.
It's one of those things you always go back to your same flies, right? Just like you have your huge box. It's like my box is the same, like 3 patterns, and it's just like I just fished them in a few different colors. That fly came out, we got him, and I was like, man, this like right in the size range that I like. Like it's got all like that one and the black one are like I was like 2 of my favorite colors. And then I fish at the mile, hammers for swinging, hammers for stripping, take it every. I'm like, all right, cool. It freaking works, man. It's it's not a pain to cast. Like from a boat, you can pick it up with line. It's not like bogging you down.
Yeah, it's not
like,
a solid.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you just it's enjoyable to fish. You can fish it on small meandering meadow streams, hit it a foot pocket on the bank. You can, I mean, it does everything.
Well, you can throw it on a 4-weight too.
Right, exactly.
You don't need a 7-weight rod to throw the dang thing.
It's
nice. You will need it for the big
right. Like, and around here, a lot of our stuff that you walk away to, like the meandering meadow streams, where there is some nicer fish that might not eat other things besides streamers. You're fishing your 5-weights a lot, so having a fly that isn't just bending that thing over, breaking it, if you like nick the tip or anything, it's a good fly. It works very well.
The black version has black, purple, and a little bit of red. Why those color combos?
Yeah, so the red came about, again from like doing steelhead flies, and I don't steelhead fish, but I've tied, being a commercial tire years ago, I tied flies for guys going all over, and they always wanted the black flies to have a little bit of red in them. So the first few I tied just had a little bit of red, and then I kind of added more to it. And I say the same thing. The black is almost a whole different fly. Like it's different flash. It's flash-a-boo instead of the ripple ice.
Right.
But it's got a lot more wiggle to it, and that red sticks out. You can throw that for a black fly that you can throw a long way away in dirty water. You can still see it.
Right.
Which is that's my big thing. People always ask like, what's your favorite color streamer to fish? And it's usually a light-colored fly.
Right.
Because I'm greedy and I like to see him eat it.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't care if it works half as good as long as it's working.
Right.
As long as I can see him eat it. But that black and purple, with that little bit of red in there, you can see the fly a long way away.
You can see it. You can see it on a bright sunny day. You can see it on a cloudy day.
Yep.
It's good. Yeah. I mean, I sort of subscribe to the same thought process. Like I want to see it. I want to see the eat and like.
Yeah,
that's what keeps me. Like that's the part that like I find the most.
Yeah, blind fishing a streamer on a big sink tip line way down deep, that's cool for about half an hour.
If you're not catching fish, you're gonna.
If you're not catching a fish every 2 minutes, it is not very exciting.
Right. I want to I'd rather see like 18 fish flash at it, not catch a single one. Catch one over the same.
Yeah, I don't care if they actually connect to it. Yeah,
because you see
I want to pull out of the hole and be like, you just got this sucker. Exactly.
Predatory stuff. That's cool. I like seeing.
You're about to eat that, Dubby.
Way too fast for you.
Right.
Eat it, sucker.
I didn't want to catch you. That's why I stripped it as you moved.
Right.
Sped it
as you were coming.
Yeah.
Right.
Goodbye.
Yeah. I'll pick it up now. Thank you. Yeah.
There we go. That's fly number 2. Let's get to fly number 3. Fly number 2. Nope. Fly number 3 is the 2-bit hooker in black. This is in your box.
Yep.
In a variety of sizes.
Most of Charlie's flies are in my box.
Yeah, let's be real. Right.
I fish through other people's confidence. That's like kind of my thing,
right.
Like,
you're a confidence.
Charlie, Pat Dorsey, Landon
vampire.
Mayer, like, those guys catch fish. Like, I could catch fish on their flies too.
You're a confidence vampire.
Andrew Grillos, great.
The Grillos, the grill dog, man. Right. Talk to us about there's 2 beads in this. Number 1, that's pretty cool. Talk to us about the design, purpose, like what do you love about this fly?
I do love that fly. That's one of my. Out of all of them, that's one of my favorites, for sure. It's almost always on my mind.
Yeah.
And it, I'm embarrassed to say how long it took to come up with putting 2 beads on the damn thing. One bead, and I wanted it to be heavier, and I went a lot of different ways to make it heavier before it's like two beads.
Wow, 2 beads.
2 beads might be a good idea. Honestly, I probably had it in my box for 6 or 8 months before I mentioned it to anybody at Umpqua, and it was Brian Schmidt at the time, and I sent him a picture of it, and he was like, "Oh, we just text back and forth," and I was like, I don't know if Umpqua will do it. It's got 2 beads. It's going to be inexpensive. It's going to be $3, $3.50 fly. And he was like, "No, we're going to do it," and off it went to the races. But I think the reason that fly is so popular is it sort of saves people from themselves. Nobody wants to fish a heavy enough fly or enough weight. Yeah. So that's a fly that is stout. And I came up with it for the Arkansas. I was fishing the Arkansas, fishing dry dropper rigs, and I wanted a skinny fly. This will all kind of come back around and sound familiar, but a skinny fly that was super heavy, like a Perdigon. But this was long before Perdigons. And that's what it turned out to be, just not a whole lot of extra on it, just a little bond that'll hang straight down. And I think it does hang more taut under your dry, so your strikes show up faster rather than kind of bouncing around in there.
Makes sense.
But yeah, I mean, I fish the size I fish depends on how fast the water is. 14 is heavier than a 16, so they're all variable weight between those. Yeah. And full range of color. Red is probably the one I fish the most during the summer, like a size 14 red.
What's up with the red? Just works.
Just works. Yeah.
Fair enough.
I like red. Again, that's
great color.
There could be no reasoning behind that at all besides I like red.
Confidence.
Red and black are the two that I fish the most. Size 14 red, size 18 black.
Yeah.
I fish that a lot at Deckers, size 18 black. With the Jujube behind it. But yeah, really a pretty versatile fly. It's tied on a short hook too, so it's a standard shank hook. So it only comes down to an 18, but that's really about a 20 and everything else. Right. So it's a pretty small fly that's still got some weight to it.
Super compact.
But yeah, it's just one of those flies that like when it came together was like, yeah, that's what I was after for 6 months, you dummy. 2 beats.
What's up with the name?
So when I first came up with that fly, it didn't have a name, and my buddy Matt Prowse and I saw him today. Longtime old buddy of mine. We fished the Eagle and all over, and we were floating the Eagle one day, and he said put that little beaded May on, is what he called it, and his wife's name is Bean, and he said to me, you should name that fly after Bean, and I was like, I think I will. So we called it a Beanie May. That was the original name before it was out in the public. That's what we called it. But when I sent it to Umpqua, it was Bruce Olson then. Yeah. Bruce didn't really pull any punches. He was like, great fly, terrible name. Great, different name. You got to get a different name. So by now, Bean knew the fly was named after her. And so I go home, and after I talk to Bruce, and I'm like, all right, so 2 beads, two bit, 2-bit hooker. Yeah, that's a fucking great name.
Right.
So then I had to go explain to my best friend that the fly named after his wife is now called a 2-bit hooker.
Is it technically still named after her?
Well, lineage. You're kind of down the line. She doesn't. Right. She's forgiven me if
nice.
That's what you're asking.
That's good. Yeah. Same with Fat Angie, right? She's
still a little mad about that one.
Yeah, I can see why. I get called fat on a regular basis by this guy.
You do, yes. Yeah.
He's recently lost weight this year.
I hate
feels
guys
so
like
proud
that.
of himself. He's just mashing it in my face. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah. That's friendship.
So now I've been working out for 3 weeks, and I'm going to get so slim, dude. It's going to be sick. Cool. That's an unnecessary version of, in addition to the 2-bit hooker part, but here we are.
The Yvonne special.
We are 3 flies in, and I'm already going crazy. All right, we're at the question and answer portion. Obviously, it goes without saying. I say it every time, but I'm going to say it again. If you have questions about the upcoming month, so for October, we have Courtney Despos coming in. If you have any questions, you drop them down below in the comment section. If we pick your question, there will be 3 picked every month. You get a Umpqua Prize Pack and some Rising Big Nippers. So drop those comments down below. We always appreciate the questions from you guys. So I had a lot of good questions this go around. I'm going to start asking questions before we get to the personal questions. So number 1, Charlie, I want to know when are we getting a Charlie Craven San Juan worm?
Yeah,
I've had a few versions. Yeah. It'll probably come around.
Yes.
You have to reach a certain level before you can kind of reach down in there.
Yeah. Because San Juan and Eggs needs a worm, and he needs an egg from Charlie Craven if he really wants to catch him.
I'll put it on my list.
I'll
put it on my list.
Oh hell yeah! Yes. This is a completely different question, a little bit more informative, I suppose. Is we're doing 5 flies that are all your flies this month. Mm-hmm. If you were to pick 5 flies that aren't yours, like other people's flies, what 5 flies would you recommend for this time of year?
Boy,
That's a good question.
That's a tough one for me because I don't generally fish other people's flies.
Fair enough.
But no, not for any reason other than I have a box.
Oh, you
full of
got
my own.
a box?
Yeah,
I like fishing other people's flies. I do that, and that's I think how you kind of get creative about like what can you do better, or what did I really like about that I want to do more of. Oh man, Quigley Film Critic.
Yeah,
pretty good fly.
Love that fly.
Yes.
What else? Let's see. I'm trying to think seasonally.
Yeah.
That Thunder Thighs Hopper.
Yeah.
That's a cool fly.
Yeah.
I just did an article on that for Fly Fisherman and talked to Eric Paramore and kind of got the whole layout of that. That's a cool fly, a really well-designed fly.
Right.
And that kind of stuff turns me on. Flies that work and aren't cool to tie, I don't care.
Yeah.
I can catch fish on lots of stuff.
Yeah.
I want to catch them on cool stuff. You get to a certain point in your life where you just want to catch them the way you want to catch them.
Right.
And
That's spoken like a true lord.
I'm definitely at that point. I don't care if I don't catch very many. I just want to catch them the way I want to catch them. So, but like cool, flies that are cool designs for sure.
Yeah.
Eric's Hopper, the Thunder Thighs, Quigley Cripple. What else? CDC and Elk. It's an old Hans Wallerman pattern. Not a lot of guys think about that one. That's a good fly, sort of all around. Not just you think of it as a caddis, but that can kind of be a little bit of everything. What else? This is not. There's a Chuck's Caddis variant. That's a fly that's Chuck Stranahan.
Yeah.
Not necessarily for September, but that's a fly I carry in my box. It's not one of mine. It's sort of a weird, different old one. Tim Drummond's beetle, a big fat foam beetle.
Yeah. Drummond's patterns are cool.
Yeah, well, a big one, like a big fat one. He ties them big. You can tell he fishes them.
Right.
Big's better.
Right.
There's a few out there, and it's like I say, it's not that I'm like I won't fish that guy's. Look, there is some of that. There's certainly some of that.
Catch them where you want to catch them on your flies.
Well, the thing is, like I know my flies work, but I really do. I try not to fish at Jujube that much because I'm not surprised when I catch fish on it.
Yeah.
The process, I like figuring out a new pattern and seeing if it'll work. So fishing other stuff is not. I'm not opposed to it, but it's got to be a cool design, kind of a cool plan about it. And there's some of that stuff out there. I think Perdigons are the most boring thing in the world.
Right.
And I know guys love them, and everybody wants to watch the 5-second Instagram videos 50 million times.
Hey, look at me try this Perdigon again.
It's awesome. Watch this. Watch this. Now it's going to be green. Now it's going to be red. Now it's going to be white.
Cured it.
Did you guys see that? I just think that's the most boring thing in the world. But there's plenty of it out there, and they do work. I fished them dry dropper rigs. They work. And it's disappointing and offensive.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to catch those fish.
That's awesome.
That's a great answer.
That wasn't.
I suppose the other thing is like, so you keep on talking about, like you have all these flies that you're sort of, like you have in the box. There's sort of like becoming a fly that you might submit to Umpqua. Like how many like patterns do you just have that are just like being workshopped?
A lot. Well, it's not like I sit down and say like, okay, this is the dozen that I'm working on. Like the swim coach was in my box. I had forgotten about it. I hadn't even thought about it. Somebody else pulled it out and kind of reminded me of it. And I was like, okay. I'll work with that a little bit more. But a lot of the stuff, like from a commercial tying standpoint, or like even, time flies or orders for the shop, or even orders for my box, stuff for my own box. Like if I sit down and tie the same thing, I used to tie 50 dozen pheasant tails in 4 days and just tie pheasant tails, size 20 pheasant tails. So nowadays I don't sit down and tie like that anymore. I don't have to. So I have a pretty short attention span now. So like I don't tie a whole lot of stuff the same. So I start messing around and it's a little variation and it goes in the box, and then maybe it's there's some variation on the mole fly that's in the works. That's sort of getting tweaked here and there. That's getting played with, and I don't know if it'll ever see the light of day. But it's not like I have a set like that's going to be the one. It just kind of floats around in there. Mole fly was around for a long time before anybody heard of it. A long time, because it's a dumb, ugly fly. Nobody walks up to the bin and is like, that's
right. The bin appeal is good, but you fish it.
Yeah, if you sell somebody two, they'll come back and buy more. But that was always the problem with it. Now it's now everybody knows about it. But the cool thing about that fly is it still works. It's just plain and dumb and simple. Right. So knowing when to stop is an important part too.
Do you have any patterns that you just will simply not?
How many secrets do you have?
No,
like
I
keep
really
them
don't.
secret every
You know,
once in a
guys
while?
ask me that all the time. Like, are you fishing a secret fly? Like, no, I really, other than stuff that's in the works.
Yeah.
And I do keep it secret until it's, kind of
Makes
done.
sense.
But really not much for secret stuff. There's a few, but they're coming. You
don't tie anything with power bait that you're just like, I'm not going to tell anybody about this.
It's just a little secret inside the foam.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've actually got a couple of flies for, I don't even know what year we're on now, 2024 from Umpqua New Stuff. The skating crane fly that was pretty cool.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
really excited about that
Hell
one. And it's been sort of delayed with COVID and everything. But, now it's just like finding cool stuff, like that's just a cool fly. But there's not much, like I say, I really don't. My buddy asked me today, like on the tie-in videos, if I keep secrets on there. These days I don't. Like, there it is, help somebody out.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we appreciate it. I think everyone out there certainly appreciates it. You have
Well, and it's more
quite
fun
a few
for,
fish
fun
to
for me
your
that
name,
way
technically,
too.
Like technically,
Yeah, there's
you
more
get, like,
fish caught on my flies than I get to catch. Yeah, for sure.
You have like if you got royalties on all the fish caught, I mean that'd be pretty good.
That'd be nice. Yeah.
Shit. So
I would
shout out
start
to
fishing
Charlie.
Perdigons and be like, fuck you, Charlie.
I might too.
Cure it. That's great. We're gonna get a Charlie Perdigon sometime. Let's
I told Russ the other day that those guys are called perdophiles now, not Euro nymphers.
Right.
Perdophiles.
Shout out to Russ, Perdophile.
Perdophile.
Yeah.
He likes that. He also spells his name Ruscle. You may not know that, but
That's a secret that he's keeping from us.
yes. Yeah.
Damn. He is sort of, Jake calls him Lord Pennington. So that's
Yes,
also,
yes.
damn, it's all coming
Yeah.
together.
He's a little older
Jake
also.
Jake
Yeah.
Burr's out there calling people old.
Yeah.
Damn, that's messed up. Well, we're going to get to the questions from everybody else. I'll take, I think I asked 4 questions, so I'll take 4 of these prize packs home. I'm pretty pumped. Do you want to take any prize packs home? You got any questions?
I was going to sneak in the secret flies, but I mean, no.
Yeah.
I'll let you have the prizes.
Oh, thanks, dude. I appreciate it.
I'll keep my questions backdoor so like I get the real answer.
Secret answer.
Yeah,
Get the
yeah.
secret answer.
Right,
See?
classic.
Secret answer, secret
Classic,
question.
classic, yeah.
So, last episode, Russ said that you're a pretty spicy guy. So, shout out to Aaron. He stayed on that theme, and he asked, Charlie, being a spicy guy, what is the spiciest fly I can fish on a tailwater this October? And what specific hot sauce are you throwing on it to make it so spicy? Don't tell me it's Cholula. Cholula is weak. It's pretty bold words.
I
From,
I
Aaron.
still don't understand that question. But I'll say in October, the fly that I would not leave home with is we were just talking about mole fly.
Yeah.
That's hard to beat. And hot sauce, Cholula, even if it is weak, is still my hot sauce.
Yeah, it's a great hot
I
sauce.
agree.
Yeah,
That's like-
yeah.
Yeah.
Sriracha's all right.
Sriracha's a great,
Yeah.
I enjoy that on a variety of foods.
Only in pho. I only like it on pho. I don't
Right.
seem to
Staying classic.
Somebody told me put it on eggs. It's nowhere near as good as
No,
Cholula. But
right.
yeah, Cholula is where it's at. So
Damn.
sorry now.
So sorry, Aaron.
Yeah, sorry, Aaron. It is Cholula.
Yeah.
I agree.
He doesn't like the Grim Reaper sauces, Aaron. Okay,
Yeah.
take it easy, bud.
It's a bit much. I'm older.
Yeah, right. He doesn't. He already has to sit in this hot studio. He can't sweat anymore. So, Taryn, what hot sauce do you like?
I also like Cholula, if we're being right on cue. Like,
Just
if you go to my house, the only thing you'd open up the cupboard and it's like I don't have the little Cholula, I have like the
Big Cholula.
big, like, and then like 3 small ones, so I don't run out of the big.
Yeah.
one,
Just a
like,
spare.
right? Like,
Just
it's all,
a
it's all
couple
bad,
of-
but it really is.
just a couple of guys who
Tacos,
shop
pizza.
at King Supers right here.
Yeah,
Just a couple of King Supers guys over
Do
here.
they make
you know?
other hot sauce?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Tabasco green every once in a while. I go Tabasco
Tabasco's.
green.
I don't like Tabasco.
John
Tabasco.
Moore's shaking his head back here.
Yeah, John
You guys
Moore. What do you
can't see
got?
it.
What do you like?
There's so many good hot sauces out there. I mean, like you could go like Valentina, you could go
Valentina's-
Tapatio. Like,
Valentina's a taco sauce, brother.
dude, bro, they're so much better than Cholula. Cholula is absolute garbage. I'm sorry to both of you. I hate it. And I love hot sauce, but Cholula, like, I agree with you. Sriracha's only good on a number of things.
That's not true. Sriracha's great on a lot of things.
on a number of things. On eggs, no.
Not so much.
Like Cholula would be better on eggs than Sriracha.
Bro,
And
but what-
Cholula's terrible.
Damn. John's over here giving thumbs down
Yeah.
to Cholula. So
He was
Aaron,
adamant
he's on.
about that.
John's on your team.
Yeah.
You can, you guys can like start a little chat somewhere, you know, on the internet and talk about how much you guys don't like Cholula.
Fuck those guys.
Yeah, those guys like Cholula. What losers? All right. So the next question's from our girl Kat. Kat asks, "What was it like for you when you first started tying the Jujube and saw how productive they were, and did you know you changed the game?" and describe the moment when you said, "F it, I'm gonna put 2 beads on here," and did you know to change the game again with the 2-bit hooker? And then she says, "Fade out with Wayne's World. We're not worthy."
We're not worthy! We're not worthy! We're not worthy! We're scum! We suck!
So the Jujube, you know, was a variation of the Jujube midge, which was one of my first Umpqua flies.
Yeah.
You know, one of the first 3. So it was a variation on that, and it didn't come around. Like I submitted it a bunch of times to Umpqua before, like several times, 6 or 8 times before it got picked up. Yeah. And it didn't get picked up until it had epoxy on it. And the epoxy was sort of an accident. I was coating some scuds with, this was back in epoxy days, coating some scuds in my box, and I had a little bit of epoxy left over. And I was like, oh, I'll throw some on, you know, wing case of this Jujube. And so I went to put it on, and it kind of strung out and drugged down the body of the fly. And as soon as it touched the fly, like that was the moment where I was like, yep, that's what it needed. You know, just
was it like a Bob Ross happy accident?
It was.
moment?
Absolutely. It was not. There was not a plan. The fly was in my box. It wasn't even in my vise. You know, it was in my box, and I, you know, just like gooped some epoxy on it, but it like ran down the back, kind of strung out, and made that little teardrop shape. And I was like, that's exactly
You're just out
what
there
a beta
painting
sniff looks
happy
like.
trees and happy clouds,
happy
man.
fucking trees. Yeah. And you know, since then that fly, it's the fly. You know, I say it all the time. It's not even fun to fish. I'm not surprised at all if I have one on and a fish eats something. You know, if I got 3 flies on and fish eats something, I know what fly he ate.
Yeah.
You know, every now and again I'll be surprised it'll be the other one, but most of the time it's the Jujube. If they see it, they eat it.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not that I'm above catching fish by any stretch, but like it's not any big surprise. You know, there's a few new colors now, and you're kind of playing with other colors. But you know, the camo is pretty darn good.
Yeah.
We'll get to that here shortly. Well, it was a little preview, but
yeah, but that was a fly that, you know, it sort of eased into existence. It wasn't like all of a sudden one day, you know, and that, like I said, I did a couple of those and I fished them. Then I started doing them on purpose. And then I sent it to Bruce, and you know, Bruce was such a funny guy. Like he called me and he was like, "How come I haven't seen this before?" Well, you fucking seen it 8 times, man. You said no every time. And you know, he'd always say, I smell money in that one. Bruce, run with it, man.
take it easy, Bruce.
Yeah. It went pretty good.
Yeah. So. And we talked a little bit about the 2-bit hooker and two beads. Like, did you feel like it was a big aha moment? You're like, oh damn, like why didn't I think of this?
For sure. Yeah. Figuring out you know, the idea of putting the 2, and it, you know, this sounds so dumb in hindsight because it's so obvious when you see it. But like I had 2 beads, you know, just jammed at the front like a double bead head, and that looked dumb. And then, you know, trying to fit it into the thorax without the dubbing on either side, it looked dumb. You know, and the fly has to look good too. Like if it doesn't look good, I don't like it. But like when I, you know, finally came up with putting the dubbing on both sides and kind of rounding it out and smoothing it in, kind of hiding that second bead, that, you know, the epoxy coat over the top of that. You know, just smoothed it out. It was the right shape, it was the right size, and it was twice as heavy. And literally the first day I fished it, I mean, we just raped and pillaged the Arkansas, like to the point it wasn't even funny. And like, we're onto something here.
Right, right. Do your fly boxes look like Pat Dorsey's? Do you have like just open it up and just
boxes
folds?
Look way better than Pat Dorsey's.
Oh hell yeah! Well, I don't ever see photos on Instagram.
There's a reason for that. No,
right.
I keep my shit organized. Yeah. You know, my boxes are, and that's like why things like the problem child came about. You know, they're full of my fly. I got so many of my flies, you know, so like 2-bit hookers can take up a whole page in the box between colors and sizes. Right. So like if I get out and I'm not catching them, which is honestly one of the things I really like to do, like to go out and not be catching them, where I got to kind of work at it a little and figure out what else. That's where the medium-sized fly, like I don't have any medium-sized bugs. But you know, I keep everything organized, but there's not a huge variety of stuff, you know. In the main boxes that I carry, you know, I've got tons of boat boxes that have.
How many? If you're walk weighting, how many boxes are you carrying? What's your estimate on the number of bugs in your bag?
So I have one like big swing leaf Wheatley box that probably has 2,000 flies in it. Yeah. But I mean, I'll carry that box and maybe a couple other smaller boxes. Yeah. You know, streamers. I literally take a handful of streamers and throw them in my bag. Right. Yeah. You know, I used to put them in a Ziploc bag, but I lost my Ziploc bag somewhere along the way.
Right. Can't get one of those. Those are hard to find.
My wife won't let me have one.
I love that. It's like how we roll. It's like,
Well, we don't roll
Yeah, I
2,000 flies, man.
but like, even our dry
The
flies,
unorganized
our dry
part.
flies would be in the
The
Ziploc
unorganized
bag.
part of
Like,
that.
Now that
I need
means
a couple hoppers today. Grab some streamers. Give me some fucking droppers, and I need jujube just in case. And
Yeah.
like, throw it in a bag and then let's.
yeah,
roll.
that being said, I mean, I can fish the whole day off the patch on the, on your sling,
Right.
and I do that a lot. I never pull the sling around. Just like, yeah, that'll work fine.
You're a sling guy.
I am a sling guy.
Yeah. What do you like about the sling?
It stays on me. I don't have much.
I'm
of a
trying to
butt.
get all these prize packs.
Are you? I don't have much of a butt, so like a waist pack. I walk 3 steps and it falls down. Walk 3 steps and it falls down.
Yeah.
So a sling I like. I'd say get a smaller sling than you think you need, because if you have a big sling, you will fill it up. And I'm
Right.
super guilty of. Like if I got room, and you're like, God, this thing weighs 60 pounds.
Oh, we're good. Keep
And I've-
keep on going.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
yeah, and I've got 2 boxes in it, and I've got 4 bottles of water and a can of beer and a sandwich and a raincoat and a pair of extra socks and bowling shoes and everything else in there.
Exactly.
So, I've been trying to kind
So sleeping
of
bag, maybe.
scale down.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at it, but and that's I've just had enough days now where I fished off that fly patch. Where like I really probably could just like like fish out of a fly cup, like you see a lot of customers do.
Yeah.
Like I'm just going right now, just my cup of fly. Like, and you think like
Just have it in their chest pocket, and that's like they just go with that
Yeah.
all day. And
Yeah.
you're like, that's crazy.
I mean, that is one way to crack that nut.
Yeah.
Well,
I gotta catch them on these.
Well, and
It is
realistically,
fair, though. The bigger your bag, the more.
more
Yeah.
stuff you'll put in it.
You're like
absolutely.
you're like a koi fish.
I fished a hit pack, and then summertime, like you go with me, it's like I got my backpack, and it's like last weekend I was hiking in a small creek, and I was like, I had 1 fly box in there. I had like a hoodie just in case it got a little cold,
Right.
but it wasn't raining, so I had that over my raincoat, and I was like, I don't even give a shit if it starts raining. Like, why do I have all this shit? And I had like 8 bottles of water. I was like, well, in case I get eaten by a bear, like I'll have enough water to survive like an extra hour of emergency. Like, you're like, what?
I always get back to the
Bring my
car
hit back. I
and
need
pull
the
the
hit
five
back.
full water bottles out of my. Why do I carry these around all day?
I
I
won't
never
drink
drank them.
Right.
Right.
And then the next time I go fishing, I forget where said water bottle was, fill up another one, and then open up my backpack and put it on top of my already full one. That was there for literally last week.
That's the
sweet.
best. It's
Yeah.
like, oh damn, I don't even need to get
Yeah,
water.
I bought Gatorade again. I have 4 Gatorades already. What am I doing? Yeah.
Yeah. We're like human koi fish. We just grow to the size of our
Whatever
ponds.
the limitation is,
Yeah.
it will be filled.
Yeah. I mean, that's what, like, for me with fishing bags, but for me with camera bags, it's like,
Right.
let me carry 1 more lens. No, 3 more lenses.
To shoot with the same lens all day.
Right,
Yep.
and then I shoot with like
Yeah.
the same 2 lenses. It's like, oh, maybe I didn't need to bring these. This is stupid. And now I'm like, my back's sore, and this is dumb.
Yeah. I'm extra tired now, and I
Right,
didn't have a
right.
good time.
Right. Yeah, the last half I was just fishing. I was just like putting it on something and like having to go back and get it. I was like, God, man, what am I doing? But I'm stupid, so I'll do it again. Every time. So there we go. Appreciate the question, Kat. Hope we answered that for you, or not me, Charlie. Second, nope. I think we're doing 4 questions. So the third question is from Brad Cook. First of all, he says he always ties nymphs off the eye, which aggressive. Then he drops this one on us. He goes, for Charlie, how do you feel about others that take your signature flies and add a minor change and then post a fly tying video about it? Also, what motivates you to develop new patterns?
Not that anyone's done that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I hardly see that at all these days.
Yeah.
It's among those 40 patterns, hardly any of them have been knocked off.
Yeah.
So that's nice. I've got that going for me. We joke about that, but I see it a lot. And honestly, I mean, that's what they're out there for. Like for guys to mess around, like tie it your way. Don't call it yours.
Yeah.
You didn't come up with it. You didn't, none of this stuff like cropped up overnight. None of it was easy. And it's sort of your life's work. Your portfolio as it is. So I am possessive of it. I've worked on a lot of that stuff for a long time, but it's not by any means that guys come in the shop all the time and they have trouble with the legs on a 2-bit hooker, so they don't put the legs on. Absolutely, man.
Right.
That it's still a 2-bit hooker. It's still mine.
Right, yeah. Don't
You
call
just
it a
didn't-
no-leg 2-bit hooker.
Yeah, don't call it a no leg.
And they're like, the new pattern,
And it's not even about. I wouldn't even say it's about ego. It's just the work that it took to get there. And I'm conscious of that on my flies too. Like flies that I come up with. I remember a few years ago I was trying to, the ultimate jigged green drake nymph. Like I worked on that for a long time. Like we were talking about, started here and started there and went a little different direction and got all done with it. And I got it all done. And I was like, fuck, that's a hare's ear. That's a hare's ear is what that is. And then It's not that it's not a good fly,
Yeah.
but it's
Right.
I just spent 6 months coming up with the hares here.
Right.
Hares are a good fly.
Hares is a good fly. Yeah.
What like classic pattern do you like the best? Like if your hare's ear, pheasant tails, like
Oh man, pheasant back in the day when I tied commercially, for all the shops in Denver, and this was back in the day, so there wasn't a lot of these new flies around. It was RS2s, pheasant tails,
Yeah.
beadhead Princeton's. I hate. I've tied more of those than any person on earth should
what
have
part
to.
of it do you hate the most?
All parts of it, every part of it, every single
those
part
buyouts,
of it.
those buyouts. Is that
No,
the-
buyouts are easy now. It's just the process of that damn fly. I was a young man. I was like 24, 25 when beadheads came around. So like that was the hot new thing.
Now you're a lord.
Dude from fucking tying all his Prince nymphs. Prince nymphs I hate, but RS2s, hare's ears. I've caught a lot of fish on those over the years. Don't fish them much anymore.
Yeah.
But they're still in my box. I still fish a humpy.
Yeah.
I fish a humpy a lot. That's one of my favorite dry flies.
Yeah.
That's an awesome dry fly. I love that fly. Parachute Adams, I still fish all summer long. People joke about that all the time. Like one of my favorite dries is a Parachute Adams.
Yep. Still
Parachute
works.
Adams is
Yep.
Red Humpy. It's like, I try to sell people red humpy sometimes, and they're like, nah.
Right.
And they gotta have like some fancy ass mayfly with like red posts or some shit, and you're like, dude, like, trust me.
Sometimes
Fishing's
the
not near
classics
as
are great.
This fly is durable. It floats good. It rides high. Like that's like
Right.
the only fly.
I try to
I
sell
need.
people-
Well, it's a cool
Trouts.
fly.
Right.
Yeah, it's a
Right.
cool fly. Like I remember seeing that fly when I was a kid. Like that,
Right.
that looks like a bug. That's a cool fly.
It's like
I try selling people Trouts and they're like, nah, no thank you.
I'm a younger.
I love Trouts.
I'm a younger man in the game, so I can remember like being younger, and it's like when I tie
Congrats.
flies, it's like stimulators. My dry flies were stimulators, red humpies, and like my nymphs were like pheasant tails and hare's ears, and I'm like, that's like in different sizes. If those 4 flies aren't working in like different
that's
sizes, it's like
Still true.
right,
Yep.
and it's just like
Still true.
Now it's like my fly box has like all Charlie Craven flies and then Pat Dorsey flies, and I catch more fish probably, but like the originals are.
Yeah.
Red Humpy is still my go-to dry fly.
Well, the cool-
90% of the time, it's summertime. Like,
Cool
it's
thing
like,
about old
yeah.
flies too is like a lot of guys aren't fishing them, so they're new flies.
Right.
Fish haven't been around that long. Like they haven't seen them either.
It's true. That is
We've
true.
seen them. They haven't seen them.
Right. Right. Like how old is the oldest brown trout? Not that old.
Not old enough to not know,
Right.
to remember what a humpy is.
Right. All right. We're getting to the time when they've never seen a humpy, Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, they've seen more fat Angies than they have seen humpies. Yeah.
Fat Angie works.
we
really well.
sold all our fat Angies. We got no more fat Angies
That's
in
gonna
stock
replace
right now.
the trend in the industry is like when you see like I remember nobody bought the chubby Chernobyl. Like you could
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
buy the chubby
absolutely.
Chernobyl, and they're like that's the stupidest fly ever.
Yeah.
And now it's like you can't keep them, and now it's like you go fish them and they don't get eaten as much because every human being's fishing a chubby Chernobyl, and it's like I'm just gonna go throw this fat Angie. And it's like imagine that the fish that wasn't
Something
eating
a
the
little
chubby
different.
Right.
Yeah.
comes up and eats. You're like like I'm like keep that a secret. Like
Right.
we got like 10 dozen in the shop. I'm like I'm gonna buy like 4 dozen of those and put them in my bag so when we run out like customers can't get them anymore.
That's pretty mean of you, man. I don't know why you say
I should do that,
that.
but I should
damn.
have said that. Yeah.
Y'all can send the hate mail to Tanner at troutsfishing.com or DM him on Instagram.
It is crazy.
Tell him he's the worst.
A little bit of different thing, and
Yeah.
people will shy away from me like, "Ooh, I fish chubbies now," and like, yeah, like this does
Right.
everything that a chubby does, and it like rides a little
bit
better,
different.
I think.
Right, right.
Like
Yes.
a little lower
Yeah.
in the back end, and they're like, "Nah, chubby,"
Yeah.
and it's like in 5 years it's gonna be
All fat Angies.
fat Angie, fat Angie,
Yeah.
fat Angie.
Every time I see a fish eat a chubby, I'm surprised.
Right.
And they do eat it. They eat
Yeah.
that damn thing.
Right.
But every time they eat one, I'm like, oh, they eat that thing.
Right.
Fat Angie, great fly. We're sold out of it currently. Hopefully, we'll be getting some of those in soon.
Yes.
We've sold them all. So another.
That's good. I appreciate that.
I was just thinking about this while you're talking about fly design. Like, do you think you're over or under 1 million fish caught with your flies?
Ooh.
It's got to be over, right?
Yeah, it'd have to be over. I mean, I know how many they sell. They sell a lot
Yeah.
of my flies. The scale of.
Do you think it's
Umpqua
over or
is-
under 10 million?
Probably under. I
Probably
guess.
under by like
Yes.
what, like a couple hundred
1
thousand?
million.
Yeah.
Yeah. 9 million. It can be more
It's
than
coming.
9
It'll
million.
hit it next 2023.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, you
Umpqua,
got-
Umpqua sells a lot of flies.
Yeah.
I had no idea of the scale until like things kind of blew up.
Yeah.
Back when I first started, you'd get a royalty check per quarter that was $100 or something, and it was cool. It was awesome.
Right.
And then like they start pumping them, and yeah, it's astonishing. I mean, they sell more 2-bit hookers in a month during the summer than I could tie all year
Jeez.
year long. Like it's
gotta be
a
over-
volume of flies.
It's got to be, because you got to think. I mean, if you're fishing anywhere in Colorado, like the South Platte, it's like Every person has Jujube Mitch or Jujube Betas. Like if you don't have those for Deckers or
those are
Jujube Canyon,
standards.
and like those are probably your busiest rivers.
Right.
And it's like, and they catch fish.
How many
it's
people
like
are
the
out
RS2.
there a day?
Yeah. It's. I bet it's. It's.
I might be over 10 million.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
It might be.
How does that feel cool?
That does feel cool.
I would imagine that feels cool.
Yeah, I love when you're out fishing and some say, "What are you using?" And they say Jujube. Like, oh,
Hooray!
awesome. Yeah, hooray! That's a great fly.
20. Oh, yeah. Fucking A. Cool. We're gonna do a fourth question, a bonus question. There were a lot of good questions, so we appreciate that. Let's keep that up for next month. The final question is from Kelly Babcock, and her question is, "What's the best way to keep your mole fly dry?"
Best way to that's a fantastic question, and I have a really good answer.
Hell yeah.
So I'll tell you, back in the day when I first came up with the mole fly, like we didn't all have quick dry shirts. So if you hold the bend of the hook and rub it on your t-shirt, you can dry the CDC off and fluff it back up. Now, these days, everybody's got a quick dry shirt and it doesn't work. So that little magic cloth that Umpqua sells, dry fly cloth, that and some dry magic. Dry magic on the wing before you start. I hold the body in one hand and I grease the wing with the other, and then get the body wet. A lot of times I'll just put it in my mouth. Get the body wet, and that's good for 3 or 4 fish before it gets slimed up. It's fish slime that makes it sink. It's it's not water. So like if you're not catching fish, and I say that all the time. Like you ever notice when you're not catching fish, your fly float's fine.
Right.
It's when you're trying to get it out there for the next one. It's because the fish slime is on it. So take it out of the fish, swish it around in the water, dry it off on that towel, put a little more dry magic on.
There we go.
What's your favorite floating overall?
Yeah.
Dry magic on little stuff and fly aggro on big stuff.
I was gonna say liquid.
Yeah. You liquid all the way.
Well, dry magic is a little white
the squeezer tube. Yeah.
I don't know what the label's all in Japanese. I have no idea what that is, but it's some kind of chalky stuff.
Gink that doesn't like melt or.
Well, that was something I got from a long time ago. And you get these sample things and you throw them in your bag, and I had it for a long time. And I remember I was in the boat one day and I leaned over to let a fish go, and I knocked my gink or whatever off my lanyard. So I dug around in my bag and pulled that out and used it, and it stays on better. Stays on better than everything else. It doesn't mat everything down. It doesn't mat down CDC. It's good stuff. And a tube of it lasts forever.
It really does.
I've got 37 of them in my bag because they're half empty, and I think I'm going to run out. But yeah, that's my
bag
favorite.
Gets heavier and heavier.
Exactly.
But then you look in your bag and you're like, oh,
I can't find a single one of these dry magic
where are they
tubes.
when I need them? Yeah.
Like, because you got one in chest pocket, one over here, three in
three
the
inside on the inside pocket with the zipper. Just in case.
Yep. You never know though. When you're out there and you don't have them, it's the worst.
Easy access in multiple places is mine.
You just have to put a new fly on after every fish.
Right. Yeah.
Which is why I carry 2,000 of them.
There you go. Hell yeah.
You guys use floating?
Yeah, right. I just use a new fly.
Throw the fly away after each fish.
Damn, that's a pretty big flex there, Charlie. Shit. Cool. That's the question and answer portion. Everyone's going to receive an Umpqua prize pack. We're waiting on reload from Umpqua, so it's going to get out there to you, but might be a little bit delayed. But thank you for the questions. As always, next month, drop the questions down below. Prize pack's available. Let's get to the flies.
Yeah, make them super spicy for Courtney.
Yeah, super spicy for Courtney. Yeah. Fly number 4, the double Ganga in black. I can't tell you how happy I am that you picked this fly and also picked it in black. Before you talk about this fly and the color black, what do you think about olive?
Ooh.
Do you like olive?
No, I don't like olive.
But
wait,
woo!
But I will say olive is one of the best selling colors.
Yeah.
And I do carry olive, and I have had days where olive is the color.
Yeah.
But not very many days. Not very many days.
Hey, he might need some.
Yeah,
more.
We don't like olive. Is that
No,
is
we're
that
not
the
olive
gist?
guys. You need some more?
Yeah. I mean, I have had days like with that kind of tea-colored water that olive is the color.
Yes.
And I'm always surprised, like when it gets there. Like I can specifically remember the 5 or 6 days that olive was the color.
Yeah.
But usually I start like on Gangas, like a tan one, because I like to see them eat it. And if they won't eat tan, I go to black, and they will eat a black. They'll always eat a black.
Sounds like I'm talking to
Man,
about
this is awesome.
Yeah.
This is my dream right now.
Yeah, this is.
You're telling everyone the truth. You know?
No, that's the truth of it. Yeah. Like if I had to have 2, it'd be tan and black.
Fuck yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
So, double Ganga.
Yep.
Talk to us about that fly.
So that one started off as a single Ganga. You guys may not know that. There was a single Ganga.
I remember that.
And Brian at Umpqua was like, hey, can you articulate that? And I was like, oh, yeah. Okay, I can. I can go home and do that. And I messed around with it, made it way more complicated than it needed to be. And then I figured out it was just needed a bugger attached to the back end. And there we are. When that fly first came out, or when I say came out means when I first came up with it. That doesn't mean when everybody else got it. But a big fly like that with the articulation where it swings, that fly moved a lot of fish. And back in the day, fish ate it really good too. Every fish that followed it would eat it, and they caught a lot of big fish. As days have gone on, lots of guys throwing big stuff. You move a lot of fish, not even necessarily big fish. You move a lot of fish with a big fly. You get the big fish to commit to it, but you don't have as many of the regular size fish eat the big fly, which is why the baby exists. But that big fly in its day, especially when it's brand new, and I have the unique position that for a while I'm the only one that has it, so I can really kind of do what I want with it. In the early days, it's pretty crazy. Watching like you say 6 or 8 fish chase it down on a cast. We're just like, oh yeah.
This is awesome.
Yeah, it's super awesome. It's a big, bulky fly. It moves a lot of water. It is heavy to cast. That's why Dirty Hippie and Swim Coach and things like that have come around. That's why the baby Ganga came around. But the original Ganga, that's we've got a lot of big fish on that fly. And if you've got big water, high water, up in the willows kind of thing, that's a fly that's just got some mass to it. I say it's a 6-weight. That 6-weight is about the biggest rod I fish for trout anyway. 6-weight probably really more like a 7-weight fly. It's a big heavy bug, but it moves them for sure.
Tanner, you're a Ganga fan.
Yes, I'm usually like the lean profile guy, so like double Dirty Hippie up there. If I vary away from that, like I don't really like big deer head streamers or anything like deer hair head streamers. It's the Ganga, and it still swims so nice for being a big heavy fly. That's it's like you can dance it. It still has
the difference between somebody asked something about a sex dungeon and a Ganga. And the difference is the head,
right?
The single Ganga was actually around before that,
right?
And they're different flies. They're two very different uses. Kelly fishes back in Michigan and up in Montana, what I call like a dish-shaped river, even level, Yellowstone, Madison, even level across, so sinking or sink tip line, where you're kind of swinging the fly, and you're fishing it slow, and you're fishing rainbows a lot of times, sometimes browns, but where out here you're banging it against the bank, so a fly fly has to sink right now, and that's with the polar fiber head, it just sinks a lot faster, but very different flies. They're not the same fly at all. Very different flies, and they fish differently. On that big water stuff, that deer hair head with a sinking line kind of keeps the fly up a little bit. This it's got to go right down. You don't have 3 strips for it to get down because you're casting again.
Do you fish this with a floating line, intermediate line?
Typically, I'll fish it with a floating line, 9-foot leader, 0x.
And another win for Tanner.
Well, out of a boat, and wade fishing if you're in the right spot. Sometimes I'll fish like a 10 or 12-foot sink tip, which I like, and I don't know that it's not dragging the fly much deeper. It's just making your angle of retrieve straight. So the fly is swimming straight out from the bank instead of kind of coming up. But yeah, I prefer to fish a floating line. Just you can pick it up and cast it. I like the casting game. I like to cast, so. A single fly, I don't usually fish 2 streamers. A single fly where I can put it right where I want it, and get my 3 strips out of it, or mend it, or dick around with it and make it do what it needs to do.
With floating line than it is with anything else.
And that's the thing is with the sink tip line, it is where it is. With a floating line, you could do a lot of stuff to kill the fly and let it kind of just
work it around some structure.
Work in a little eddy and kind of freak out a little bit and kind of zip out. And it's amazing how 3 strips from the bank, but those rocks there, have got some fish around it, and if you can kind of pause it right there, and just a mend, just like a big mend, like you'd mend a nymph, and jig it.
Soak.
I fish a Ganga out of the boat a lot of times. It just like jig it in the rocks in the fast water, in rapids, and it's amazing how many fish come up and they don't always get it, but they blast it. It's exciting.
I think we'd get along on the boat.
I have nothing to add on that.
Right, that's pretty much what we would have said, except cooler. We would have said it in dumber ways. So there we go. That's the double Ganga.
I like streamers. Yeah, I mean, given my druthers, dry flies are cool.
Yeah.
But there comes a time where streamers are.
Right. Dry flies and streamers, I think that's
all you should fish, preferably.
Yeah.
You know, you got to dry.
We're getting close to being lords, I think.
Oh man,
you guys are circling right in.
We're pre-lords.
Yeah. Getting there.
Can't wait.
We'll talk to Jake and see.
Yeah. Jake's gotta make an evaluation.
He's got to have a committee meeting.
Yeah. Like, hey, Ivan, when's your 40th birthday? You know, fuck. You know, I'm a lord in 2 years.
2 years.
Maybe, you know?
Yeah. Don't rush things.
Pre-lord, Lord Ivan sounds pretty cool though.
It does.
Lord Tanner, I think Lord Smith is better.
Lord Ivan kind of sounds like Viking-esque, you know.
Lord Smith sounds pretty good.
Lord Smith is just probably overplayed. There's probably been
a few Lord Smiths. Yeah.
Maybe one or two.
Yeah.
Smith, what an original name. The most basic name of all time. Tanner Cole Smith. Wow,
Yeah.
cool.
You got a cul-de-sac name.
I'm from the suburbs of Colorado Springs. Hold on. No surprise there.
How weird. We'd never guessed.
That's crazy. Wow.
Tanner. How good. Wonder where he's from.
There we go. That's fly number 4. Let's get to fly number 5. Fly number 5. We've come to our final fly. It is the Jujube in camo. So available in a variety of colors. Why did you pick the camo over the other colors?
Ooh, that's my favorite new color for all around use. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's tied with black, brown, and olive.
Yeah. Look, olive is great with the other colors, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. A camo scheme, you might say.
Yes.
Yeah, it's crazy. Man, who would have thought?
Yeah, I've had the weird thing is like I see guys tie olive Jujube all the time, which is not an official color, and honestly not one that I've ever done much of. No. I've tied them in black and purples and all that, but straight olive I've never really done. But the camo, you pick up the same rocks I do. You see those little bugs that are kind of black, brown, olive.
No.
And that's where the camo came about. Darker, a little bit darker thorax. Bead or no bead. But the camo version of the new colors. The original brown one.
Right.
I think that one will always be king. Although this is brand new and it's going pretty good.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just a buggy, different, and it's nice to have an option. To mix it up a little
Yeah.
bit. Very often, I start the day and I have a purple Jujube and an original Jujube on, and now I have a camo Jujube.
Yeah.
I'm fishing a different fly.
Yeah. This is exciting.
It's exciting. That one works too.
What went into what inspired you to tie the Jujube? What was the origin story?
So the Jujube midge was, and this was back, we were talking about Pat Dorsey earlier. Pat and I started guiding at the same time, and that was
cool.
89 or 90.
Yeah.
So way back when. I used to see Pat every day in Cheeseman Canyon.
Yeah.
And Pat's a fantastic guy. We've been friends for forever. He's a great guy. And so I would, I came up with the Jujube midge, and we'd fish that, in the morning for the midges. And then it kind of transitioned to Beta's time, and you just kind of kept catching fish.
Yeah.
And it, finally, I was a slow learner. Maybe they're eating it for a Beta's too, so maybe I should put a tail on it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
And that's where it started. And the first one really was, a Jujube midge with a tail.
Makes sense.
And then started adding some flash and kind of fixing out that taper and kind of getting a little more teardrop shape. And then the epoxy was the
Right.
What's the killer?
The happy little accident.
Right.
yeah.
Shout out to Bob Ross.
Happy little accident.
Yeah. I feel like there's probably a lot of those in fly tying, right?
Absolutely,
right.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like one more beer and suddenly it became
the
I found
fly
it.
was not a fly I tied and was like, oh, that's
What do you drink to get inspiration?
I don't drink when I tie.
Oh, nice.
Because that's when you actually keep tying.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
I don't have the motor skills for it.
Fair.
I can drink really well.
Yeah.
I can tie really
Right.
well, but I can't do this.
I think that's true for most people.
I see a lot of guys tie while they or drink while they tie. We
Certainly
their
seen
fly
that.
classes and
Right.
It's toward the end of the night it gets pretty bad. It doesn't take many to shut down your motor skills.
Right.
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 So I don't generally drink while I tie.
Yeah.
Respect that.
What do you like? What's your? Do you watch sports during it, or are you just locked in?
I'm locked in.
Locked in.
Quiet room.
Quiet room, dark room, one light.
Yeah, well, that's ideal. Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, just focused on the
dark
job.
room by myself, nobody bothered me.
Yeah.
Yeah, for 6 hours of that.
I feel like you zen that pretty well because like sometimes like I've been watching your presentations at like the fly fishing show since I've been like 12, and I'm like, oh, and I'm like, this guy is just like zoned in while he's like tying in front of like 100 people, and it's like you could just like do that in a crowd. I'm like, it feels like I'm watching a guy tie in his office right now. And then like there's a lot of tires like when they're giving demos, I'm like, you're kind of losing me. Like you're talking a little too much. Like you get up there and you're just like literally like talking step through step, and I'm like, dude, it's like, does he know that we're
It's like watching
him?
a fly tying video, except
like,
he's right there.
Right. It's like, do you know that we're here? You know, it's like, hello. We're like,
I've done those demos for a long time.
Right.
You know, I don't consider myself a public speaker by any stretch.
Right.
But, you get better at it over
Right.
time.
Yeah.
And I remember I don't even remember where it was, but I was doing a demo in like a big theater thing. And it was dark. They had lights on me because they had it on a screen. And so I sat and tied for my 2 hours, and pretty casual. I could see the 5 guys in the front row, and I was having a good time, kind of talking back and forth with them. And they like got all done, and they turned the lights up. And there's 300 people in there.
Right.
And at that point, you're like, wow,
Right.
I'm glad I didn't know there was
Right.
300 people there.
Yeah, because it used to be like at the fly fishing show, and they had it like in the back, and like people are just like walking back between like the cafeteria.
Yeah.
And your fly tying demo's going on. I'm like, does he not see any of these people? Like, and it's just like you're just still zoned in, and it's just like the perfect. I'm like, man, like I learned so much. Well, I've watched other people, and they just like get distracted. You see them like look off, and like the guy walking with beer, Charlie's up there just like nope, just like zoned in.
My favorite thing to do is watch somebody else type.
Yeah.
I'll admit that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I try to watch YouTube videos. I do watch them. I
right.
make fun of them. That's why Russ said I'm spicy. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've seen the spice. We've seen the spice.
Yeah. We like the spice.
Yeah, I love the spice.
Just
love
keeping it real.
Right. Ain't nothing wrong with keeping it real.
No.
That's true. Cool. You got any more questions?
No, that was awesome.
You got any more answers?
I'm sure I do if you have questions.
Fucking A. Well, appreciate Charlie coming by. This has been awesome.
That was great, man.
You can find Charlie at Charlie's Flybox.
Yep.
CharlieFliesBox.com.
Yep.
At Charlie's Flybox on Instagram and YouTube.
Yep.
You can get his books. You can see him at the fly fishing show. I mean, you can fish his flies. They got he's got a great shop up in Arvada. Go check him out.
One of these days, we're gonna coax him into getting on the water with us.
Yeah.
I'd be all for it. Absolutely.
Yes.
Oh hell yeah. That's on the record.
You
right
don't
now.
have to fish the Jujube when we're fishing because it bores you, but
It sort of
I'll
sounds-
fish it for you.
You fish it for
Yeah.
It sort of sounds like we should just go to our streamers
I'll be like, hey,
with floating lines.
another one on the
Fucking
Jujube in
smack 'em.
case you did not know.
Yeah. Yawn.
Boring.
Cool. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Hope you have a good September on the water. We'll see you next month with Courtney.
It will be awesome.
Okay, bye y'all.